How many times do you have to get lied to as a human being before you change your mind, before you realize that someone doesn't have your best interest at heart? This is something that we deal with politicians all the time. We deal with the media all the time. We deal with academia all the time, constantly being lied to. I always make this story, I tell a story about people, because I've had a lot of people the last few years say, Brandon, I can't believe that there's these people out there that have evil intentions at heart and that aren't doing what's best for us. And our leaders, our elected leaders, these servants. And I always tell the story, but a lot of people have woken up over the last 3 or 4 years, obviously, since 2020. Fortunately, a lot of people are waking up. A lot of friends and family that I know are waking up saying, Brandon, I used to think you were kind of crazy, but now I see that you're right. I just didn't believe that people had these ill intentions. And I always used to say, and what I've been saying is, I used to play the game of Monopoly as a kid all the time. I loved the game of Monopoly. And I would cheat like crazy. When I was the banker, which should tell you a lot about bankers, I would take two $100 bills, 3 $100 bills when I was supposed to take one. I would take 5 when I was supposed to take 3. If you believe that people with all the fame, power, fortune in the world at stake are just doing it out of the benevolence, out of the goodness of their heart, just to do it without any ill intentions or without doing anything nefarious, then I have some oceanfront property to sell you in Nebraska. End of story. There's really no other way to explain how this game works. Follow the money. More important than following the science. Follow the money will get you much closer to the truth. So one of the big things is, again, this lying. How many times do you have to be lied to by the media, academia, by pop culture, by Hollywood, and you push these narratives and brainwash. And it's hard when people are brainwashed constantly since the day they were born with media, magazines, movies, academia, and on and on and on. It's hard, right? Your brainwashing conditions you. We're all brainwashed and have certain programming that's happened. And this goes back to Bob Proctor, Napoleon Hill, and all these different people, right, that have studied this for a long time in the personal development space, and psychologists, and there's different worlds in that realm itself. But you look at the Russian hoax. You look at, Tim Pool was talking about the Michael Brown thing, the don't shoot, the Charlottesville, there's fine people on both sides. You look at weapons of mass destruction with George Bush. You can go through the list. I did not have relations with that woman, Bill Clinton, in the 90s, over and over. You can go through this and you can see politicians, leaders, people over and over and over lying and lying and lying. And we continue to vote in the same people. We continue to believe the same people. We have, Dan Rather literally forging the documents, the Bush documents of him going into the military, forged the documents. He himself got ousted from decades-long career in media. So now you have to take what he did. Everything prior to that has to be called into question, if not believed to be totally fake. And I think this is an important part of predictions, making predictions. And I've made many predictions. Some of them have not been on media. Some of them have and recorded. I know myself personally, I've been fairly accurate. We'll say 70, 80% or more accurate. I'm just going to try to ballpark it here on my predictions over the last 20 years. And even as a high school and middle school student making these predictions, seeing where the world was going, I've been very accurate. But it's important for you to make predictions, everyone to make predictions, because it shows you what your mental model of the world is going forward as well. Do I need to correct my model? Were my models right at the time, or do I need to change them? So I think that's very important, but we'll do a separate video on that as well. But looking at these different things, why do I continue to believe these people? And at the same time, if this apparatus, if the broken monetary system continually forces people down these ill incentives in this structure itself, then I need to start changing that structure. I need to start changing the money that I'm using, that we are using. I need to start changing the system that we're using. And we're going to do another video on the military enrollment, people coming into the military and offering their services way down. If you don't have the Constitution, you don't have the rules, you don't have the Bill of Rights, you don't have these things to actually protect, who's going to raise their hand to protect them? Well, of course not. When you're constantly being lied to, this apparatus, a deep state, whatever you want to call it, one world government, all these different things that are going on. Well, of course, no one's going to want it. These borderless societies, no one's going to want to do anything because there's nothing to actually stand and say, yes, I believe in that. I'm going that direction. So how many times are you going to be lied to? How many times am I going to be lied to? How many times are we all going to be lied to until we say no more? I don't believe this. Is it 1 time? Is it 3 times? Is it 10 times? Is it 100 times? Is it 1,257 times times we have to be lied to over and over and over again before we don't believe Dan Rather, before we don't believe Walter Cronkite, Brian Jennings, the Sean Hannitys of the world, the Rachel Maddows. How many times do you have to be lied to by politicians, by media, by a teacher, by professors, by your uncle, by your family member, until you say, you know what, you're wrong. You just constantly get these things wrong, and I can't trust you going forward. Your mental models are completely broken. You have been brainwashed. I feel sorry for your brainwashing, but you need to go fix your models. Please share this out. Question everything with boldness, even God himself, because the algorithm ain't going to push these out. We know that. We know that. They hate truth. Trust but verify what I'm saying. Let's verify our own models and start updating our models, because the models are broken. The new monetary system being ushered in has exposed the fiat legacy monetary debt-based system as being completely broken, and has brainwashed the entire system into a world that doesn't exist. This is not financial advice. It is freedom advice. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.